Okay, we're so glad to be here today to share with you details about last night's board meeting, which marked a historic point here in the Charleston County School District with the Board of Trustees passing its annual budget 1 month prior to the end of the fiscal year. But before we go there, we want to celebrate the great accomplishments here at the Early College High School. Barrett Reese, principal here, is simply exceptional, leads a talented team of people dedicated to ensuring quality outcomes for students. 75% of the pupils here are pupils in poverty, and just a few weeks ago, he graduated nearly 88% of them with associate degrees from Trident Technical College. That is a huge accomplishment, and I credit him and former principal Vanessa Denny, the foundation she laid here, for the exceptional work being led by teachers. Come on up here, sir. Come on up here. Barrett, we just want to thank you for your hard work with kids, your vision for leadership. And I'm going to turn it over to Barrett just to say a few words about the work going on here. And then I'm going to ask our COO, Jeff Baroe, and our executive director over in our capitals area to talk about this exceptional building. Jasmine Shaw and her team led wonderful work here. So we'll turn it over to Mr. Reese once the bells stop tolling. And ask him to talk more about the work with children. And then Mrs. Shaw and Mr. Baroe will talk a little bit about this exceptional building in which students find themselves. Mr. Reese.
Welcome to Early College High School. So Early College High School first opened its doors on Trident Tech's Palmer campus in 2017. Just over 2 months ago, we opened this facility thanks to the hard work of this team behind me, Mr. Baroe, Ms. Shaw, all the architects at Leolio Architecture. So we're very proud of this facility. One of the things about this facility, we really wanted to capture the history of Fraser Elementary. And we also wanted this facility to be something that the community, a gathering space for the community. So this multi-purpose room is one of those spaces in which the community can gather in. Our stepatorium out here, the patio, we wanted to really be something that really symbolized the success of Fraser Elementary, but also something that blended with the neighborhood and the community here on the east side. Early College is an AVID site of distinction. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. And it really is a transformational educational program really meant to teach students the college and career ready skills that our students need in their dual credit classes, as well as the skills they'll need to go on to four-year universities. So we really emphasize collaboration here at Early College. So within our AVID spaces upstairs, you'll notice furniture and study rooms for breakout sessions for our students really to work and learn together here at Early College. We also have a number of different chemistry and biology labs here at Early College. We didn't really have those opportunities on the Palmer campus. This facility allows us to do that. And I'm proud to announce in the fall, we'll accept our first 25 students, our initial 25 students in our health science cohort with MUSC. And really the purpose of that program is to expose students to all the careers of health science. The goal of that program really is to allow students to work with MUSC professionals, either it be through job shadowing or internships. So we're really excited about that program, to continue to build that program here at Early College. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Leadership matters, and Barrett is an exceptional leader. Valerie, welcome. If you didn't catch what I said earlier, 88% of the seniors that will exit this campus just this week will leave with an associate's degree, and that is simply exceptional. Again, 75% of those being pupils in poverty, and we're incredibly excited to launch the healthcare cohort in partnership with Dr. Cole, the CEO down at MUSC in the fall. We had nearly 90 applicants for the 25 seats there, again, which is a testament to the work that Mr. Reese and his team are leading here. I now want to turn it over to COO Jeff Baroe and Executive Director of Capital Programs Jasmine Shaw. Again, leadership matters, and they did an exceptional job designing and putting together this building with a great team of partners with whom we work to make it a reality. So Mr. Baroe, Mrs. Shaw, please join.
Thanks, Superintendent Huggins. I just wanted to take the opportunity to highlight the entire program when we're standing here in this brand new facility. Thank our taxpayers for voting for the 1 penny sales tax in the past. The program that we just completed, Phase 4, which ran from 2017 to 2022, we completed 7 new construction projects, 6 renovation and expansions. More than 90% of those funds have been expended or are obligated at this point, so we're spending the money the taxpayers gave us, and we're doing it wisely. In addition to that new construction, capital maintenance is a big part of the program. We completed more than 170 projects, so those of you that own homes know that you have to replace the roof in 20 years. You hope your HVAC lasts 15. If you got kids, your carpeting's not lasting much more than 7, but those capital maintenance projects are integral to making sure that all of our schools look new, even though the bones might be a little bit older. We also have funds in information technology in that program as well. Phase 5, which began in 2023, will run through 2028. We're about just over 33% through that program. We've already obligated more than 40% of the funds that we've got planned for that. We're almost doubling our capital maintenance projects, taking that close to 350. 2 of the projects from a construction perspective are complete, including this one. We've got 5 more underway, which Ms. Shaw will talk about some of those here in a second. And we've got another 4 renovation and expansion. So huge for the entire school district. We got to keep that momentum going as we plan for Phase 6, which will come in front of our taxpayers in 2026. With that, let me turn it over to Ms. Shaw. She's going to talk a little bit more about this project as well as what she has underway in this program. Ms. Shaw.
So 2025 has been a great year thus far. We have opened our brand new early college high school support building, as well as some renovations at the St. John's High School Stadium. This particular project was for $42 million that was dedicated towards designing, constructing, and also equipping this beautiful 2-story building, 65,000 square feet. We have provided the school, I'll let the alarm go. So what's really unique about this particular facility is that we were able to provide the students with an actual cafeteria where they can have lunch. Prior in the Trident Technical Campus, there was a classroom. We made meals remotely and brought lunch and breakfast over to the school, but now they're able to enjoy a brand new cafeteria facility. One thing that's unique is you'll see a stepatorium also within this building. The students really, really like the stepatorium as well as the outdoor dining area. This is an opportunity for them to gather in one single space and have lunch anywhere they would like within the facility itself. We also have provided a nurse's clinic, a brand new admin suite, as well as science labs. Prior, they were able to take science in classrooms, but mostly out of textbooks. So now they have, the Bunsen burners, the hood system, the ventilation system, a true science lab where they can really indulge in their future endeavors. We have also provided a brand new multi-purpose area. One thing about the Trident Technical Campus, which is a wonderful facility, they were taking their activity PE inside of a classroom, like 8-9 foot ceilings. And I always say for our 9-10 foot, high school student, that's not a lot of space. So we're able to provide that area, this multi-purpose room for them to enjoy those particular facilities. Also, I would like to highlight some other projects that we have within our areas. We're doing a brand new Johns Island Elementary School that's scheduled to open in August of this year. We also have Morningside Middle School, that's a replacement school that's going to be done at the end of this year, as well as Latson Elementary. But not only that, in James Island, we're expanding our early learning education for Stiles Point as well as James Island Elementary School. Some other areas we're doing in the D23 area, all three elementary schools are getting expansions to their multipurpose room. One already has one, but we're doing expansions in the D23 area as well. And I cannot forget our Mount Pleasant area. So the new James B. Edwards will be coming in the year of 2027. So we are really excited about what we have to offer to our school districts and to our taxpayers, but as well as what is to come, like Mr. Burrow said, in our Phase 6 sales tax program. So thank you all for the opportunity.
So again, it takes all members of our team to work together and to work together well to ensure that we serve kids. And we want to thank Jasmine and Mr. Broy for their exceptional leadership in creating state-of-the-art facilities with their teams for our students. And if you didn't catch it earlier, just this week, 88% of students who've attended the early college high school will exit our system with an associate's degree. That's a great story for your 5 o'clock broadcast. Just make sure you know that. And so now we'll move on to the budget. $1.67 billion budget passed sooner than ever before. Special thanks to our wonderful CFO, Daniel Prentice, and his great team. Jessica's here representing them today, Jennifer Carter. We have a very dedicated team of people who have projected well and been thoughtful, and they've listened to us on the academic side of the house with what we need. But we owe a lot of this to our Board of Trustees, who spent countless hours working individually and in small groups with us, really diving deep into our budget and understanding what we believe, based on data, kids need in order to be successful in this system. Some of the highlights of the budget include a $65,000 starting salary for beginning teachers up to 5 years of experience, and a $4,000 bump for teachers across the salary schedule, along with steps, as we've been sharing that with you. An increase in pay for our classified employees as well. We prioritized 42 school-based positions that are serving students in the new year. We've expanded employee daycare over to Mount Pleasant. Such currently exist here on the peninsula, over in North Charleston and in West Ashley. Specifically, we're going to open 2 classrooms at Laurel Hill Primary, and the lottery system for employees, students will open soon as we make that expansion and communicate that to our employees. We already have requests to open additional sites in the other areas in which we've already prioritized employee daycare. And so our goal is to, over the course of the next several years, open spots for employee daycare in all of our constituent areas across the district. We believe that is a perk for our employees, and we want to attract as many employees as we can to our system. And we know that daycare has been a prohibiting factor in the past for folks who've left the classroom to stay home with their children. As a mother myself, I know that daycare was a primary concern as I worked as a teacher in the classroom. We've also, by 50%, reduced the amount of kaleidoscope after school costs for employees as well. So not only have we expanded daycare opportunities for young children and working mothers and fathers and caregivers, we've also reduced after school cost for employees' children. We also grew the weighted student funding budget from 32 to 36 million, which, as you know, goes directly to support pupils in poverty, students with special needs, and multilingual learners. Also last night, as part of the superintendent's report, I talked a little about the attendance pilot that some of you and I discussed a few months ago over at St. John's High School. We hired a third, or partnered with a third party, to analyze the early results of that pilot, and we believe that the results, particularly in elementary schools, are exceptional. We see the attendance gap between non-pupils in poverty and pupils in poverty in these elementary schools eliminated altogether, suggesting that students have an increase of up to 3 days over the course of the pilot of instructional time, which we believe will significantly impact student outcomes. Last night, we also talked a bit about the abolishment of the constituent boards and the transfer of those duties over to the Charleston County School District and the Board of Trustees. Number one, specifically, attendance zones will remain with Mr. Broey and his team in our operations division. They will continue to engage with communities and with trustees about how we draw attendance lines, and ultimately the final approval of those lines will be given by the Board of Trustees. Number two, the transition of student transfer duties will come from constituent boards to staff and the Board of Trustees. That will reside with Mrs. Roberts in her Office of Accountability, with Robin Jones and Bob Olson, who will make preliminary decisions based on board policy. There'll be an appeal process for parents first to a hearing panel, and then if parents continue to have concerns about the decisions of the district and that panel, they may then appeal that decision to the Board of Trustees, which again is how the policies currently read. Most significantly, the most significant responsibility of the constituent boards right now consists of their hearing appeals regarding discipline. And that matter will reside in Dr. Shavonna Coakley's office. And I want to thank her for her exceptional leadership in this area. We have proposed the creation of 2 3-member hearing panels with a certified administrator, a classified employee who has experience in social emotional supports and intervention for children, and a community member. Dr. Coakley's team will manage on one side of her office the intake of all discipline referral cases that come into her office. Those will then be heard as needed by a separate arm in her office, disassociated, those 3-member hearing panels, which will have a dotted line to me, quite frankly. So if there are challenges with that, Dr. Coakley has direct access to me. If parents want to appeal the decisions of those hearing panels, they may then appeal to our Office of Investigations and Compliance, managed by Sir Oscar Douglas here, who also is a direct report to me. He will do an of-the-record assessment, listen to the hearings, review all the data, and render a decision. Ultimately, parents still have the opportunity to appeal those decisions to our Board of Trustees. I'm really pleased with the work of this senior staff, the thoughtful recommendations that they've brought forward, and their engagement with stakeholders to do so. So with that, I'm certainly open to any questions that you might have of me and or our staff members. Caitlin? That's a great question, Caitlin. Thank you for asking. I want to thank Jamie Costner in my office, who's here, and Miss Roberts, who really have led the course of this 9-week pilot in 10 of our schools. And so, Caitlin, the answer really is just, I'm brutally honest, is we don't know yet. I promised the public and the board that we'd be very transparent. And so as we get data along the way, we want to share it. The preliminary data, as I've shared, is that it's made a difference in attendance gaps for kids, particularly Hispanic students and children of color, in some of our highest need schools. We believe the return on investment is significant in those schools, but what we want to do now is triangulate that with actual student growth and achievement data. And as we have that back over the coming weeks, by July, I'll be very transparent with the media and the public and the board about what we recommend. We do believe if some of the outcomes are as significant as they are, $225 a student is a more fiscally responsible way of doing truancy business than we may have been able to do so in the past based on what we know. In the interim, Dr. Coakley and her great team continue to lead a lot of efforts around student attendance and community engagement, where we've seen really positive gains, significant gains, specifically over the course of the last year and a half. So the answer is TBD. We want that student achievement data because ultimately, all of our efforts are aimed at increasing student growth and achievement, and we don't have quite enough data yet to suggest that this has made a difference with student achievement, but we will soon. Great question. Bob? It really is simply amazing. And if you haven't yet, I hope you'll take some time to get some footage here and tour. You'll see out here a timeline which Mrs. Denny and Mr. Reese put together about how this facility and these grounds have changed over time. So I'm going to ask Miss Denny and Mr. Reese to come up and talk a little bit about the transformation that you're right, Bob, that you see here on this campus. And I hope you'll get a picture of that timeline out there on the wall. Mrs. Denny, Mr. Reese, please come up and talk a little more.
Thanks for the question. So it was really important for us to ensure that we heard the community's voice in the development of this building. We incorporated from the beginning the history of the community. So for example, when Early College first opened, you'll see that our colors are gold and black. And those colors are the Early College colors because Early College opened in the C.A. Brown facility, and C.A. Brown's colors were gold and black. Our crest, which you'll see outside, contains a gavel that was also in the C.A. Brown crest. And so we wanted to really preserve that history and honor that history when we came over to the Fraser campus. It took a lot of time to engage with the community, and ultimately the facade of the building that you see is our answer to the community's request that they wanted this facility to look like the facility that they recalled when they walked into or taught here as either students or teachers. We heard fabulous stories about time capsules and oak trees and seeds that went to space and came back, and rose gardens and vegetable gardens. And this was really, I think, it was just a fantastic program because it embodied everything that you'd want to see in terms of collaboration with the old and the new. And we really are proud to bring students back to this campus. And we were proud to bring high school students back to the C.A. Brown campus. Mr. Reese?
So not too long ago, I had the luxury of hosting a number of Fraser Elementary teachers. And one of the things that they said, one of the resounding things that they mentioned, that they were just proud to have students back in this facility. As a magnet program, we do represent all of Charleston County. And our student population really is representative of all of Charleston County. So we pull students from Johns Island, Wabanah Island, Ladson area, the North area, Mount Pleasant. So Early College really looks like Charleston County, and that's one of the things that here through our Abbott program we really build as student agency, those partnerships, collaboration. And that's really how our students have been as successful as they are. And again, I'll just reiterate, in our conversations with the ECDC and a number of members on that board and the Eastside community, they're just really proud that this building is serving kids again, and to have kids back here in this building. But those students are primarily students in need.
Again, Bob, really great question. And I just want to say, again, thanks to Mr. Barrow and his team and Mrs. Shaw, the work that they do. We're dedicated to ensuring that we have fantastic facilities for all of our kids across this district. We've done a lot of capital work in North Charleston most recently. And again, we are dedicated to ensure that kids have neighborhood schools that they're proud to attend. So thank you for the thoughtful question. Yes, the funding allocated for this attendance incentive did come from the weighted student funding. And so Jamie and his team really worked with principals to reallocate funding and use some funding that they hadn't used in the fall as we thought about strategically what we could do to make the biggest difference for kids between mid-year and end of the year as we thought about improving student outcomes. Sure. Great question, Claire. So within schools WSF funding, they have the ability to fund these sorts of projects. And so we're very optimistic that we could work with them to do just that. Dependent upon the ROI, we will work with the CFO to ensure that we've got the most high leverage strategies in place for kids, however, even if we need to cut elsewhere. Hey, Valerie. So will you give me an example, Valerie? So are you talking about, absolutely. Mr. Costner, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about that? Or Miss Roberts? Mhm. And Jessica, because Mr. Prentice couldn't be here today. He's flying home today. Miss Jessica, do you know exactly the formula for the WSF that you could rattle off to? Because your strength's numbers, mine's words. Go right ahead.
So I think Valerie's speaking to the difference in the way weighted student funding, the calculation and allocations for schools were done in FY25 versus FY26. So in FY25, it was a 1 to 0.8, 0.7, and then we moved towards a per pupil amount for weighted student funding in FY26, just to better serve schools and allow the flexibility that we've been striving for schools to be able to allocate those funds in the best manner to serve students and outcomes. So it's to really just more like a wallet for the schools to be able to use those funds and not have any, as much stringent, I guess, restrictions.
So that's perfect. And so Valerie, like Jessica said, and to all of you, now, regardless if a certain population of students exist in a school, as Jessica said, because of the per pupil allocation, the school still gets some funding. So let's say there are only 18 kids, for example, just as an example, at Bell Hall Elementary School that are ML. Mr. Conklin would still get a per pupil allocation for those students versus a 1-to-3 ratio as such. And so we listened to our principals and believed that that would be a better way to make sure that all kids who fit certain student groups are served. Thank you, Jessica. Do y'all have anything you want to add? Just y'all are back. They're backing up. They're backing up, Valerie. That's a great question, Caitlin. We have gotten a lot of anecdotal, qualitative feedback about the program, and some of the suggestions from principals is that kids did show up more eager to learn, and more importantly, families have been more engaged in the learning. And I think last night you heard some of our board members talk specifically about the need to further engage with families. And we don't disagree with that at all. We believe students show up more ready to learn when parents and families are engaged in the learning. And so we do believe that students showed up more ready and willing to learn, and that as part of that, so did their families. Thank you. And we believe that based on how we see families are using the money, that it's removed some of the barriers that kept students from coming to school. And that is what pleases us the most. Mm. So I'll be really clear for the public. This has nothing to do with Anita Huggins, but it has everything to do with the people inside of the classrooms here in this school and the people who stand behind me, which really should be more like alongside me. And it has to do with the board. That although it as a whole has been somewhat controversial for decades, a board that is really truly dedicated to getting it right. Um, and when you put your focus on kids, which we believe our teachers do, and we believe our community is beginning to, you can't help but change things for the better. It doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes and we're not going to do things wrong, but part of the work is building relationships and trust with the community so that when we get it wrong, we can be honest about it and we can figure out how to get it right. And the people who stand here represent people who are dedicated to get it right. I just happen to be standing behind the podium right now, but we all know, based on the trajectory of Charleston County School District, that come this afternoon at 3:02 p.m., it could be somebody else. And so what I want to make sure is that for this season that I serve, the folks behind me and the folks in the classrooms across this great district are equipped and know the mission so that despite whether it's Anita Huggins or Bob O'Brien or Caitlin Ashbaugh or Claire Weber or even you, Mike, or even Andy Pruitt, they know what matters and they know how to keep the work going for kids. So we believe that educators need a great place to work and they need a paycheck so that they can live close to where they work and support their families. So pay is one prong of our initiative and our drive to make things great for teachers. But another is recognizing that a lot of educators can't raise a family in the Low Country because they can't afford daycare. And so we recognized that 2 years ago, and we decided to pilot in a small way in some areas in the district, employee daycare, and it's been a huge success. We've had teachers tell us they returned to the classroom because they could. We've got people, I think I got 4 emails this morning that said, when does the lottery for Mount Pleasant start? We're so excited. We hear you. We see the public who needs these opportunities in order to return to the classroom because they share a passion for kids. And so we're dedicated to doing just that. And I want to thank our board, who is also dedicated to doing just that. They could have said, you know, you need to cut that line item and put that towards something else because that doesn't really have to do with age 5 kids who need to be educated and age 18-year-olds who are about to graduate. But their vision suggests that age 2 kids will one day be age 5 kids, and we need to ready them, and we need to make sure that their parents can come and work for us and contribute to the well-being of the next generation of Charlestonians. And so if you're here and you've been resistant to teach because you couldn't afford daycare, we hope that we're providing a solution for that in real time here in CCSD. It's a great question, Claire. We have seen that the incentives have primarily gone to paying bills, utility bills. Sometimes parents have banked the money for several weeks so that they can make one payment, for example, on a water bill or an electricity bill. We've also seen the funding go towards food and clothing. Which we believe are on that Maslow's hierarchical set of needs that kids and families need to feel good about themselves and about coming to school confident and ready to learn. You know, some of the things we have taken pause, but very few. Uniformly, we see that the monies are being used to remove some of the barriers that we believe kept kids and families from having their children in school regularly. So we're very pleased with that. Absolutely. Great question, Valerie. So, the House bill that was signed by the governor will abolish the boards effective June 30th. So, we believe the constituent boards will meet one final time in June to consider whatever outstanding discipline appeals they have and/or student transfer appeals. And then Dr. Coakley and her team will have those hearing panels we discussed today in our cabinet meeting, and Dr. Coakley attended that she will go ahead and begin the advertisement to staff those hearing panels, and those hearing panels will have a role in both student transfers as well as in discipline. And so we expect that the new processes will begin as early as July 1, but we're planning for them now. Absolutely. Is that all? That's okay. Just ask away. I'm happy to. Dr. Coakley is really the expert on all things related to student support and what her office is leading. So I'm going to ask her to come up and talk a little bit about what she and I have discussed in regards to planning and thoughtful hiring and execution. Dr. Coakley.
Thank you. So currently we have one member already employed as a senior hearing and placement coordinator, which is a trained certified administrator in our office that would conduct the daytime hearings. So that individual will move over to the CCSD hearing panel and become that neutral member from packets and discussing the hearings with the families and giving them their due rights and compliance. The second senior hearing and placement coordinator position would be one that we would need to hire out, and that would be a certified administrator. All remaining positions, which would be 2 classified administrators and 2 community members, would be posted for hiring. Yes, so we presented last night. It's going to be over $300,000 that we're saving. Thankfully, because of allocations that are already in our office through the expansion of our superintendent and making sure that the DOS team was properly prepared to service students before the dissolution of the constituent boards, we have allocations that we're able to transfer over to make sure that we fortify those positions to really move forward by July 1. Thank you.
It's a great question, and we early anecdotal feedback, qualitative feedback that we get from principals and leaders and teachers in our school is that the WSF has really been a game changer for how they're able to serve kids that really need it, particularly in schools like West Ashley High School that has a high population of pupils in poverty that didn't already earn Title I, which is a special revenue fund dedicated, as you know, to pupils in poverty. And whereas I can't really talk about embargoed quantitative data yet that we do have some preliminary data, and I can't help but smile. I watch it and I refresh it every hour. But Mrs. Roberts has given me a really bad stank eye. We are beginning to see some preliminary numbers that would suggest that it's made a significant difference for kids. And that really makes me happy. We'll be able to share that more as the numbers come out. If the trends hold true, we still have schools that haven't tested, that are testing today in math, for example, and tomorrow in math. But again, we've seen some significant gains in some high poverty settings that really have made us smile. really big over the course of the last couple of days. Mr. Costner in my office was even running simulations over the weekend to predict what we might see in some other schools. And so, again, some qualitative data feedback and some formative data suggest that the WSF has made a difference. But to be very honest, this is such a significant fiscal investment with $32 million. The past year taxpayers deserve to know quantitatively and achievement and proficiency wise, did this really move the mark for kids? And so we will very transparently be providing that data as we know more. That's okay. He'd love to. Reese, Reece. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, Barrett, would you mind talking about how you use your WSF? Oh, you know what? He can't do that because he's a program school, and but Dr. Eppelsheimer or Mr. Comeback, if you'd like to come up and talk about how some of your high schools have used their WSF, or Dr. Clamp, any of you could come up and discuss how your schools that you all supervise, and or Mr. Costner, you could come up and be part of that too. I mean, I could rattle off all the answers, but they're not really interested in me. You want to talk about?
Yep, a lot of the high schools are using the WSF money for additional classroom teachers, especially in the core content areas, additional ML teachers, bilingual TAs, additional assistant principals or student concern specialists to help with the day-to-day and relationships with students. Teachers have been primarily the number one budget line item to try and reduce class size and get those students some extra help.
They've also used it for like math interventionist and reading interventionist and other types of support and wraparound services. Also like mental health type issues and things like that. So they've used the money wisely, and they came to us saying, this is what I need at my school. And according to our WSF guidelines, there's certain things they can spend the money on, certain things they cannot. But for the most part, it gave the autonomy back to the principals because they're the ones in the building and they know what they need as far as their students in their school.
And Claire, we use data to determine these things. Principals are being held accountable, associates and principal supervisors are being held accountable for how the money's being used and to ensure that it aligns with our goals and guardrails, and to ensure students learn and grow and become all that we want them to be by the time they exit our system. Valerie, did you have one more question? Well, I'm not going to look at Miss Roberts because she'll say it's October, right, Miss Roberts? Yeah, but we'll know. Um, we'll know maybe a little sooner, but the state does embargo it. But we get some preliminary data now that it's automated in most of our settings for both ELA and math. Particularly for math, we have more data this year because the test has been renormed for ELA because of the new standards. But we have some preliminary glimpses now because of the automation of the process into proficiency of certain schools. And by midsummer, we'll have a better idea and be able to begin preparing information to share with you all. Thank you, too. Any other questions? Yes, sir. So, O'Brien boys, your dad's asking me to be your parent. So, let me just say to you, you get a huge citation if you don't read. But aside from you, O'Brien boys, I would say to parents and to students that summertime is a time to stay engaged with reading and with math and with learning opportunities that can help grow you as a student and as a learner. So, parents, talk to your kids, give your kids opportunities to do things, make sure they have a book. If they don't have a book, we have books for you. We will give you whatever you need to be successful. So please be in touch directly with me if you don't have what you need at home to be able to support learning throughout the summer. And if you need one-on-one assistance, we can also make that available. Summer is a time that we often see a summer slide with students. Can you imagine how great it would be if students return to school in August having maintained all the knowledge that they learned this year? So parents, grandparents, caregivers, let us help you educate your children over the summer. Be in touch with us. We have supports to offer what you need, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure our kids are ready when they return to us in August. And O'Brien boys, you better read. I'm just saying. Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you all. Yay.